Welcome to episode 20 of the Wiley Wire. We're going to run through some headlines that surfaced this weekend, update on the Iran war, the Benjamin Netanyahu death conspiracy. We'll cover that, and a lot of other headlines, including the WC baseball games that are definitely overseeding my expectations. It's a little more than a spring training tournament. It's actually getting pretty heated, pretty exciting, and the USA is now in the championship game. We'll cover that and a bunch of other headlines. Welcome to the Wiley Wire. I want to cover this Bibi Netanyahu is dead conspiracy that went around this whole weekend. I don't know why these people on X and other social media platforms continue to waste their time with fake information. I don't get it. It's all for clicks and likes, but at the end of the day, whoever liked that post that he was dead or viewed it, they're probably never going to view any of your posts again because it wasn't true. It's unbelievable. Then actually you see how many people were cheering it, even though it wasn't even real, but people that were cheering it thought it was real. And it's just wild how many people, cheer for somebody's death. I mean, it's wild. I mean, even like the repost this thing got. And then there's a video of him in a coffee shop. That's why when I see stuff on X, I always verify it. I don't put it out unless I'm 100% sure it's true or as close to true as possible. Obviously, whenever a story comes out, there's more details that generally emerge a little later, but the genuine story is true. And when I saw this going around, I saw how many views it had. I'll put up the post as I leave this segment. It's unbelievable that people have the time to do this. And also, for what's the point of it? I mean, you're not going to get any advertising money. You're not going to get any revenue off of it. Just likes and views. I think that they may want to look into fact-checking things quicker, because this took a while to get fact-checked. They got to fact-check things quicker. I don't know how hard that is to do. There's a lot of people out there that don't understand AI on top of that. People that just don't have the time to look into things. They see it and then they move with it. And I bet a lot of the people that reposted it and liked it probably had no idea it was fake. And they were just honest people just reposting something they thought was true. And then I want to go into a clip I'm going to roll of Joe Rogan. He's talking about how the Obama administration made it legal for government entities to falsify information and use propaganda on the people. Legally make it okay. I know in the past it's been done, but it's not legal. But I guess under the Obama administration, according to Joe Rogan in this clip, they made it legal. Roll the clip of Joe Rogan.
One of the things that happened was the Smith Month, right? So during the Obama administration, when they made it legal to use propaganda on American citizens, that blurred the lines of truth and reality for all of us, forever. And unless that is somehow or another rolled back, and I don't see any effort or any desire to roll it back, we're always going to be stuck in a situation where it's absolutely legal for intelligence agencies to lie to us in the interest of national security.
Yeah.
As you saw in that clip, Joe Rogan talking about how the Obama administration made it legal to put out fake propaganda. And I just feel like if everyone would be just honest with what's going on to a certain extent. I know sometimes the government can't give all their cards away. There could be other angles that we don't know about that you don't want to let the enemy know about, or are there certain things in law that could hinder a case or what? But for the most part, putting out fake propaganda, I'm totally against that. That's shouldn't be done by the government, and it shouldn't be done by individuals. For someone to come out and say that Benjamin Netanyahu's dead with no information or no sources, I just think it's on the grounds of committing a crime. I know everybody has the right to freedom of speech, but Netanyahu is a big public figure. But I mean, you could say somebody else is dead, and someone's got to come out and rebut that. Probably a lot of people are affected by the fake news that was put out. So I just think people shouldn't be doing that. They should be held accountable for doing it as well. Now, I looked at some of the comments on the Netanyahu death, and people were like, burn in hell, you bastard, and all that. And like the hate I saw was like crazy. And then when the debunking video came out where he shows which I'll play after this, because the conspiracy theory has 6 fingers, he's dead and all that. He comes out at a coffee shop, shows his 5 fingers, and kind of debunks the whole thing. Now, a bunch of AI videos came out after that of all different leaders at the same coffee shop. And, fact checking says that the Netanyahu video is real. Then there's some fact checking that says it wasn't real. Then there was, people just saying crazy stuff about people defending Netanyahu. I'm not defending Netanyahu or the government of Israel. What I'm defending is saying he's dead when there's no proof he's dead. And then even if a video resurfaces of him proving he's not dead, that video is fake. So let's just sit back and see if he really is dead. You got to hear something soon. They can't just continue to put, robot images of him out or having fake Netanyahu's walking around. But again, you'll never prove anything. If you're going down that rabbit hole of everything's bullshit, it doesn't matter. You can be looking right at Netanyahu, showing his 5 fingers and showing that he's alive, and you'll say that's not him. That could be somebody else. So there really is no way to prove if he's alive or dead. But the best I got is this video, and the video says it's non-AI. It's been fact-checked that it's not AI. And then other videos of this resurfaced where people just change a little bit of it, little tiny things while looking at it, not even important, like the coffee dripping, or they take a person out of the background of the video and then replay it, and then someone will look up the video and will say it's AI, because it is AI, because it was changed. So this is the world we're living in now. AI is a bad thing when it's used like this, because you can debunk a story with a real video, and then the real video turns into a fake video by changing a little aspect of it. So when people re-look up the video, is this AI? It's going to say, yeah, this is AI, because it is. AI portions have been added to it. This is used by countries all over. Let's just say, I'm not saying that Iran's behind this, but let's just say Iran wanted people to think Netanyahu is dead. They'll just make that video and make it AI. That's all they'll do. It's very simple to do. This stuff it's being used is in the hands of everybody. Some people think it's really tough to use. It's not. It's really easy to use, actually. But most people don't have the time to play around with it, mess with videos and all that. People have jobs. They're getting up. They're looking at a picture online and they think it's real, and then they pass it on and they share it, and that's how something goes viral. So my advice to everyone, especially people that maybe posted it or reposted it, take a look at what you're reposting before you do it, because the consequences could be, just bad. I mean, if you're just a non-podcaster, non-media person, you can get away with it a little bit. But if you are a podcaster or you are a media person, you are on TV, I'd say maybe it's the podcasters that really have a problem, because there's not that many people on their team to vet things, and they're getting stuff thrown at them all the time. But you still got to look it up before you take a look at it. Now, I've looked at this video, the original one, and it says it's not AI. Then I've also looked at some that look exactly the same. Like I just said, they moved a plant or they moved something so it turns into AI. So you can say it's AI, because it is AI. If you take a plant out, you move something, or you change writing in the picture, but the movements of Netanyahu are the same, the video is going to be, say, AI. So I think, you can't debunk all this stuff, because people are just constantly putting videos up and more and more and more videos out, and then you're going to cause people to have to debunk it and go in front of the camera and debunk it, and you could just go on and on and on. So AI is got a lot of good to it. It's got a lot of bad to it. This is one of the bad parts of AI. And I think somehow they have to control it. I know when I watched an interview of Elon Musk, because he's one of the creators of AI, a couple other people, ChatGPT, all the other ones, thought that the government should put some rules on it. I mean, this is Elon Musk saying this back in the day because he was scared of what could happen with it. And I think we're seeing the ramifications of this now, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse until somebody steps in and says, it's illegal to do this. I don't want my voice put on a picture of me saying something I didn't say. And yeah, can you fact check and say it's AI? Yeah, you can fact check and say it's AI. But a lot of people don't take the time to do that. And when you're on Instagram, you have to take that video and then put it somewhere else and fact check it. Who has the time to do that? So it's going to come to the point where, is anything legal? Is anything illegal? It's a mess right now, obviously. You're seeing that right now. But they got to do something, mainly with Facebook, I think, that better with the AI. I know when you put something out there, you can put, did you use AI, to do this? But it's like user choice only. It's hard to police this. That's why I think it's going to get worse and worse as we go. But roll the clip of Netanyahu before we go to our next segment in the coffee shop. You be the judge, it's AI or not. I think we'll find out if Netanyahu's alive real soon, especially being in a war with Iran. I think we'll find out pretty quickly if he's alive or if he has six fingers. Roll the clip of Netanyahu.
מה שאלת אותי?
ראש הממשלה אומרים ברשת שאתה בכלל מת?
אני מת על קפה, אתה יודע מה? אני מת על העם שלי. איך הם מתנהגים, פנטסטי. אתה רוצה לספור את מספר אצבעות?
אתה יכול להראות לנו?
פה. פה. ראית?
יפה מאוד.
לחיים.
ראש הממשלה מסר לאנשים שיוצאים ומתאווררים?
לצאת להתאוורר, אבל ליד מרחב מוגן. והעמידה שלכם היא מדהימה, נותנת כוח לי, לממשלה, לצה"ל, למוסד. אנחנו עושים דברים ש...
I want to cover some of the positive news, at least I think it's positive, is the amount of driver's license, truck driving licenses, CDLs, I think they call them, that were revoked for illegal aliens in this country. And I'm all for that. I don't think if you're a non-citizen of the United States, you should be driving a truck around the country. Are there probably a lot of good people doing it that aren't citizens? Of course. Are there some bad apples doing it? Of course. Are there some people that don't mean to do any harm but aren't qualified enough to do it? Yes. Are there citizens of the country that have CDLs that aren't great truck drivers? Yes. But let's just start with illegals. You can't have illegal immigrants driving trucks in the United States. Can't have it. I don't think I should be able to drive a truck in another country. You put me in a truck and let's just say I knew how to drive a truck. I had a CDL, but you moved me to Dubai and automatically made me a truck driver there because anyone can do it. You'd have to be a citizen. The roadways, understanding them. Now, are all illegal immigrants unable to understand the roads? No. But you can't pick and choose individuals. It's all or nothing. You have to be a citizen and you have to pass all the driving courses to be a CDL, to get your CDL and drive a truck in the United States of America. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to run a real unfortunate clip of appears to be a Muslim man driving a truck, killed 3 people. There's multiple videos out there of people that are not just Muslim. They're driving trucks and crashing them. But this particular person killed 3 people on Highway 10. I believe it was in California. But people, what I've noticed mostly online now is if I put this video out, they're going to call me anti-Muslim. If I say that Benjamin Netanyahu is alive, I'm a pro-Netanyahu guy. I'm just giving you information I think is true. I don't sugarcoat sides. I don't falsify things for a narrative. I just come across things I see, and I think they're relevant for the news today. And I think that Trump taking away CDL licenses from illegal immigrants is a good thing. Roll clip of the crash that happened on Highway 10. Here he is driving. He looks kind of disorientated and just bam, look at that. Unbelievable. It's poor people. 3 people dead. It comes to a stop. Unbelievable. We'll be back. As you saw in that footage, that is just a horrific crash. And there's other videos out there of truck drivers going down a oncoming traffic lane, entering an oncoming traffic lane, couldn't read the signs. And like I said before, there's probably a lot of people that are not citizens are great truck drivers. And there's probably a lot of people that are citizens that aren't great truck drivers. But at the same time, you got to start with just the basics. I'm all about common sense. I'm not one of those people that I have to say this because this is for the politician that I voted for. I vote for the best politician. I can't pick them all, so I can only vote for what's available. And I think this thing that Trump did is a good thing. Let's get more American citizens to become truck drivers. There's a lot of people that need employment. It's a great profession. We have plenty of people in our country. And I don't think we need people that aren't even citizens taking jobs from citizens. Yeah, it's just my take on the CDL licenses and Trump revoking tons of them. I don't know quite the number, but it's a lot. I heard it's 200,000 or something. It's a lot of licenses being revoked. So that's my take on it. In this day and age, like you have people that, why'd you show the guy that was a Muslim in the truck that killed all the people? Because that's the video that I saw. This happened to be a Muslim guy. It could have been a white guy that wasn't a citizen. It doesn't matter. It's the fact that they're not a citizen and they killed 3 people. And people are going to say, you're a Benjamin Netanyahu supporter because you claim he's still alive. I claim all the information I have is that he's still alive. There's too much AI out there. I'm a pro-American person. If you look at all the countries in the world, I want to do business and work with the countries that align the most with the United States. But that's not my decision. I can name a lot of countries that do a lot of business with us that don't have the same religious views as us. And it's none of our business to have them change their religious views. They're just business transactions, and whatever's best for America, I'm sure the other countries that Trump's dealing with, whatever's best for their country, they're doing it. And that's why you need a great president that is a deal maker that could get the best deals out of these countries and have the best team that can get these deals out of these countries. So anybody that knows me though, but I like anyone and everyone that doesn't want to do harm to others, is a good person, and will be a good citizen in our country. That's the only guidelines I have. No bearing on religion, no bearing on where they're from, no bearing on any skin pigmentation. That's what I like to call it. If you're a good person, you want to come to America and contribute and honor the sacred, statues, the sacred stories, and root for the country that you're coming to, that's what I'm for. I'm not a big believer in coming to another country and bringing all of your country's values. And there's a lot of good things that, people from other countries bring, but you're an American now. So America's first. That's it. If your country was better than America, then go back to your country. It's no different than, so this is kind of a smaller analogy, but when I moved out of Illinois, I didn't start hanging Chicago Cubs flags on my porch. I didn't start painting all these different Chicago things all over my yard and murals and stuff. I didn't do any of that because I don't live in Chicago anymore. Do I still follow the same teams? Yeah, of course. I follow the Chicago teams I liked. But a lot of times people will want to move somewhere and bring the culture from the place they move from to the place they're moving to. And sometimes it'll work out. Most times it doesn't. And in this instance, I do believe in mass legal migration. But when you come here, it's America first. That's how it was back in the day when everyone came here for the first time in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. American dream, all of that. I grew up around it. My grammar school was all different nationalities and religions, and it was so multicultural. And they all stood, I pledged allegiance to the flag. They don't do that anymore. Every single one of them. American flag hanging up, that was it. And I think we got to go back to those type of values in all schools, especially public schools, because that's the foundation of the country. But we'll be back with our next segment. I'm going to cover a couple of good things that Trump has done, and I have a little grievance with a Truth Social post about Mark Levin. I think he put it out today. I'm going to comment on that. Heard about the Trump administration, especially for kids. I don't know if you heard this. It's not really advertised much, but I saw it going across X and I looked it up and it's true. If you were born in 2025 or after, so parents, grandparents, you get $1,000 fund through the government. and it grows throughout the years. So when the child is an adult or 18, they'll have a bunch of money saved up that's been invested. And it's just free to anybody. So anybody that's born 2025 and after can take advantage of this and get the $1,000. I actually had to double check it, triple check it, read it. And I'm like, it's just a free $1,000 to invest. So basically, a young child has a little savings right off the bat, and that will grow over time. So that's another good thing I saw the Trump administration's done that doesn't get a lot of attention. Democrat, Republican, whatever you are, sign your kid up for it. Get your kid the $1,000, and this will go on, long after Trump's out of the presidency. Second thing I want to cover, I am against this tweet or post Trump put about Mark Levine. They call him the Great One and all that. No, I've read his books. They're very good. He's very smart. He's very knowledgeable. I don't like listening to him at times because he gets a little too hot-headed and it's kind of hard to listen. But I'm not taking anything away from him as far as knowledge. He's put a lot of good stuff out there. I know there's a big gripe between him and Tucker Carlson, and then there's, a lot of conspiracy theories behind Tucker Carlson and Mark Levine. But really, I think for the most part, they both want what's good for the country. They were going to debate each other, actually, and that would have been a hell of a debate. That would have been fun to watch. And I bet more good would have came out of it than bad if they would have debated. Because I think listening to both of them, read both their material, they're pretty aligned on most things. I just think the Israel thing got kind of tangled up and things just started to go sideways with those two. I guess would say publicly. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I know they both worked at Fox, but a lot of times they don't see each other. They're in different locations. And I really don't know the true dynamic of the relationship. But for the most part, Mark Levin, I have nothing against him. I think he wants what's best for the country. Whether people agree with what he thinks is best for the country is to be debated. But Trump put out a post that anybody that doesn't agree with Mark Levin is not part of MAGA, and it's just going on all over online. It's like you're blasting the MAGA community, you're blasting your base and all that. And I don't think people should put out something like that. If you don't support this guy or you don't like this guy, I think you can still be a conservative. You can still agree with a lot of what Mark Levin says. You can also disagree with things he says. It doesn't make you have to attack him or attack Tucker Carlson or attack whoever. You don't agree with everything they say. This goes back to my WTF segment. Who agrees with everything that one person says? It's impossible to agree with that. I think just people got to stop attacking each other. I think that's the main thing. Stop attacking each other. You're never going to agree fully with what everybody says. It's impossible. You can agree with a lot of what people say, but it doesn't mean you're aligned with them. There's no handshake that happened that says, I like this book that Mark Levin wrote. Now I like everything he does or says. I don't like the way when he gets interviewed. I've seen him on Hannity. It's hard to even listen to what he's saying. He's so fired up and yelling that it's kind of like, it's not my viewing pleasure. It's not my forte, if you want to call it. I would rather have somebody that's a little more even keeled, like a Victor Davis Hanson. That's another guy that I like most of what he says. I can't say, if I say I like Victor Davis Hanson, it doesn't mean everything that comes out of his mouth, I'm pro Victor Davis Hanson. It's to the point now where we have to just cool it off and relax, seriously, because all we're doing is just gaslighting people. And just because you voted for Trump doesn't mean you're a Trump supporter, whatever that means. I like the majority of what Trump's done. There are things I don't like. I think that's healthy because you can push back on things you don't like, and his base can push back on things they don't like. The right-wing conservatives can push back on things they don't like. That'll help him sometimes figure out what the people that voted for him want. And sometimes when you're up in the White House, you get a lot of talking heads around you, and you might lose track at times. And I think there's this like anti-Iran war group now, and then there's this pro-Iran group war, and then there's, you're paid for by the Jews and you're not, and I don't take money from anybody and all this stuff. It's getting too much at this point. And then the conspiracy theories that are going around. Again, I've read a lot of these messaging, but a lot of the messaging, and it's just like people just say the craziest shit, and it's like, and then who knows what they're doing afterwards. I got accused of being a CIA agent. I had like 3 podcasts under my belt. Somebody was like, "Yeah, you're a CIA propaganda something." I was like, "What?" But we got to just relax at all this, because you have no proof of anything. How do you say something you have no proof of? How do you say something like that if you have no proof of it? And until I meet someone and shake their hand, I can give you pretty much my full take on who the person is, if I like them fully or not. But it's hard for you to get a read on somebody if you never even met them, number one. If you read material they put out, you kind of get a good insight on who the person is, and you can also not agree with everything that they put out. Even though you can agree with 80% of a book, it doesn't mean you agree with all of it. So the one thing about, I want to say that if you break everybody apart, there's going to be nowhere for anybody to go. I don't know what the overall strategy of this is. Let's get everybody against each other. If you turn the Democrats versus the Democrats, Republicans versus Republicans, and you got 4 groups. I just wish people had more of a mindset where you can agree to disagree on things rather than get all pissed off and start firing shots at each other. But that's the world we live in. I'd like to say, if somehow we can figure out what are bots and what are not. I know that Elon Musk has tried very hard to get rid of bots. Now, I've hired social media companies to help push my accounts out, and I turned out to be, a lot of it's like bullshit and like bots and stuff, so I canceled it. But it's just, I don't know, it's just gone to the point where it's lost its way completely. But another thing I want to talk about too with Trump and how I don't agree with the tweet is, or the post, is that there's no reason to alienate people that are your supporters or not. Let people make their own judgment. Nobody needs your endorsement of somebody. So, I mean, if they don't like the way he broadcasts, they're not going to like Mark Levin. So you can't, it's a pointless post, in my opinion. I just also think that there's so many like Trump grifters too, that they just want Trump's endorsement. They want Trump's backing on things, and it's just to make money. There's probably so many people that he thinks he has in his wing that are just there just to grift off him and get a new book or get a new deal or whatever. And Trump's a business guy too. So if he's able to give somebody an endorsement for a book or something, the book's probably going to be good on him. And there's nothing wrong with that. If Trump wants to endorse somebody that's going to write a book or write something he's going to favor, then go for it. But I don't think he should get behind individuals and say, if you don't like this person or if you don't fully support this person, then you're not a voter of mine anymore or whatever like that. I just don't think that's a good thing to do politically. I don't think it's a good thing to do just personally or from any standpoint. So whoever is in his ear, I don't think that's a good thing. But also, one last thing I say, I'm going to do a couple of things that Trump's done well. I honestly think overall, he has the highest poll numbers between Obama and Bush at this point in his presidency. And that's a clip I'm going to roll of CNN to back that up. I like to roll CNN clips because people always think I watch Fox News only. I watch all of them. And CNN put this up, and other broadcasting networks put this up too. But CNN put up the polling of Trump having his best poll numbers. And I think overwhelmingly, yeah, the Trump base doesn't want forever wars. That's not their thing. But you can't say this is a forever war when we're only 3 weeks into it. You can't say that. He continues to say and continues to double down that this is not going to last forever. I know he said this is go on for 10 years. I think he was just trying to scare Iran to tell him he'll go as long as it takes, but he's not going to be around doing this 10 years. So there's going to get a new presidency. And that's kind of what Iran is probably seeking out at this point. That's the only downfall about America in terms of war and keeping the country safe. Because back during the Obama administration, they sent $300 million in cash and planes to Iran. That's a fact. They were giving them $6 billion. They basically funded the uranium program. And that's a fact. You can look it up. It's not fake news. I did it. So a new administration could come in and help support an Iranian leader that's similar to the one that we just took out. So I think Trump knows he doesn't have a lot of time to fix this. He can't gamble on the next president being Republican. I think he needs to do this in his term. I don't think it's going to be 3 more years. I think it's going to be no more than a year. But Iran, I don't think has 3 more years to hide out and wait. I think that's going to be a bad thing for the Trump administration, for the country, for elections on the right side. I don't think a war continuing on into the next presidency will help Republicans. I think it will hurt them. And there's always that fresh start approach and the war approach. But I just, that's my opinion. But overall, I think Trump is in real transparent. The other day he was interviewed, he said, why haven't the Iranian people taken back their country, had an uprising? And he basically said, the reason is they don't have guns. 30,000 at least, maybe more, up to 50 protests have already been killed. So they don't want to go in the streets and protest. They're hiding out. They're waiting for new leadership to come in so it's safe for them to take back their country. So we'll find out in the next couple of months how this is going to go. There's reports, unconfirmed. I've seen some White House reports. I've seen a lot of close people in the White House. But again, they're just reports that the new leader, the Ayatollah's son, is in a coma and has one leg and is out of it, has no idea he's the leader. And that's what I've heard. But there's more people in the mix. So we got to send troops in. It's going to happen. It's already happening. And we got to protect all the ships going in and out near Iran. It's huge for the economy. Nations thrive off those waters. And we have to take control of it quickly. And once we do that, I think we can get some type of transition going. But again, it's only been 3 weeks. So everyone's got to chill, stop being so doom and gloom, find out the facts before you get all, on the high horse. And people are going to make mistakes. People are going to say things that aren't great all the time. Trump's going to say things that you don't agree with. But we got to just understand that if you're for the Iran war, you got to support the troops. You got to support the president. You got to support the country. If you're against the Iran war, you're against going in, you have to still try to support America, support our troops, and just hope and pray that even though you disagree with it, that it's the best thing for America. Iran's been a foe of ours since 1979. And then, I've read a lot of different things. So people probably chirping me, well, the CIA started Iran. The CIA started Saddam Hussein, put him in and then took him out. CIA started Gaddafi in Libya, put him in, then took him out. Clinton took him out, all that stuff. I read those things too. So I'm not like, got a, blanket over my head. I know what's going on, but we're in the present moment right now. There's nothing you can do about it. So we're already in here. The best thing we can do as Americans is hope for the best for America and hope that this doesn't go on a long time and we lose service men and women. So that's my take on some of the good things Trump's done. Again, look up that Trump investment, $1,000 investment for children that were born 2025 and after. That's a great thing. Doesn't get a lot of attention. Why not give your kid an extra $1,000 to start off their life with some savings? We'll be back with our next segment. We're going to do a quick dive into the Ilhan Omar information that's coming out. I guess the DOJ is going to probe her and really get into her finances. And I think Benny Johnson put out this long video of really breaking down her finances in this fake winery she had. This is not my reporting. This is Benny Johnson, but it's pretty crazy to how he breaks this down. It's almost like a slap in the face. One of the wines is named like the devil's wine. You got to see this. We'll be back.
About at this first century president's own party approval, about at this point in the second term, Bush was at 77%. Obama was at 77%. Look at this. 86% of Republicans approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing at this point. That is higher than either Obama or Bush had within their own party at this point. Trump's magic touch has not seemed to wear off yet when it comes to the Republican base.
And what kind of approval are we talking about here?
Okay, so we're talking about overall approval here. How about the strongly approved, not just like, but love. Okay, we're going to look at these same presidents again. Strong approval among your own party's base. What you see here is Trump is the only one who gets a majority at this point in their presidency. Obama was at 48%. Bush was at 47%. You see here Trump at 53%. Not as high as overall approval rating, but still getting a majority of the Republican base, at least in the average of polls, to say that they still really, really, really like him.
Okay.
I want to cover this reporting on Ilhan Omar. I mean, she kind of got pulled into this with the Nick Shirley, Minnesota fraud, the learning centers, and all the other fraud that was going on with, autism, and there's probably a lot more we don't know about. But she kind of got drawn into it because she, of course, is a representative of Minnesota, along with Walz and Ellison, the mayor, and things started going around online. She's worth 50 million, 30 million, all that, And then you had to ask yourself, even if she was worth 10 million, for somebody that had nothing to get that type of wealth, like I said many times in the past, without creating anything, no business or any type of, product to fall back on, it's impossible. It's no different than mafia money, trade money, NGO money, basically no different than starting a GoFundMe page saying you're hurt and you're not hurt and you just get millions of dollars and you keep it. All that type of thing. There's just no way to accumulate that type of money quickly. So something's got to be off. So this reporter, Benny Johnson, actually went over all of her finances. And everything that was always talked to about Ilhan Omar is, this is unconfirmed for me. I've just heard President Trump say it a few times. A lot of other people have said it, so I'm just repeating what they said, is that Ilhan Omar married her brother to become a citizen, which is illegal. And then she obviously looks like she married somebody else after that, and money was put in his name, and this winery where there's no real winery, there's no wine, you can't buy any wine, you can't call the number. It was listed worth like $5,000, this winery, and now it's somehow listed worth 25 to 50 million. Income's reported that it's in the tens of 20 millions of dollars, and don't quote me on those numbers, but it's up there. So there's no wine, there's no phone number, there's no way to order the wine. How could somebody have a winery that's worth that type of money? So let's roll the clip. It's a long one. It's about a 3.5 minute clip, but if you're interested in understanding this, listen to the whole clip.
I just investigated Ilhan Omar's official financial disclosures, and what I found was so dark and criminal. I don't know how she gets out of this without going to jail. Have a look at this. Here's Ilhan Omar's financial disclosure from the Congressional Record, year 2023. I want to bring your attention to this company right down here, Est Cru LLC. This is a winery in Santa Rosa, California. It's not doing that well. The total value of the winery is listed at $15,000, and Ilhan Omar's barely making any money off of it at all. Hardly enough to pay a parking ticket. Okay, that's fine. Nothing really mysterious there. Businesses fail all the time. But go ahead and look at her filing for 2024, and you'll find that Est Cru Winery, the same company in the same location, is now worth $5 million. That's incredible, up from $15,000. And now Ilhan Omar's making enough to pay rent. So this must be one of the most successful companies ever. Let's go ahead and check in on this winery. Maybe we could buy some wine. I like wine. Why not? Let's see if we can buy some Est Cru Winery. Here's Est Cru's social media Facebook page. You'll see here that the last post, oh no, was in 2023. Wasn't this the year that they were supposed to, go really big and make Ilhan Omar millions of dollars? Same thing on their Instagram, and they don't have an X. So let's go ahead and check their official website. What is Est Cru? We are winemakers and memory curators, okay? Est Cru Winery has a bunch of brands that's led by these people, creators of eye-catching labels. So I'm sure I can go and get some of their wine, right? Well, they don't have any activities here, so maybe I could just go to their location and buy some of their wines, or maybe give them a call. Let's try and go to their location here. This is the Google Street View of Est Cru Winery, and what you'll find here is an empty parking lot. Doesn't actually look like an operational business. Certainly isn't the same name. So, okay, let's go ahead and give them a call. See if maybe they pick up. Let's go ahead and call the number on the webpage. Let's go ahead and give them a call and find out. Oh no, user busy. Let's try that, okay. Well, I've done this like 20 times today. Okay, so that didn't work. Is there any wine in this wine company? Is there anything about wine? Because I see like stuff about events, but like, what is this exactly? Aren't you supposed to sell wine at your wine company? Where are your wines? Oh, there are no wines. You wanna know why? Because this is a fake company. Rep. Ilhan Omar's husband accused of swindling investors in their California winery. They stole millions from cannabis growers. You can see here's the lawsuit right here, saying that Tim Minette, who's Ilhan Omar's third husband, no relation, swindled his investors and defrauded them. How did Minette get this relationship? Well, the current Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison, used to work for him. Isn't that curious? Keith Ellison, the same guy who refuses to look into any of the Somali fraud. So this company was sued for being a fraudulent company. And the New York Post says the exact same thing, as the House is now probing the mystery of Ilhan Omar's skyrocketing wealth. They said that Ilhan Omar went from being one of the poorest members of Congress, worth negative $65,000, to being one of the richest, worth $30 million. Here's a rare photo of one of their wines that they allegedly made, The Devil's Lie. But the entire company is actually a lie. It's not a lie to Ilhan Omar, though, because she's able to list an enormous amount of her income and an enormous amount of her net worth to this fake winery. This winery is not worth $5 million. The winery doesn't even exist. It's fake. It's fraudulent. They need to investigate this right now. This is a lie. And maybe, it's the devil's lie.
Just gotten to the point where they're just slapping you in the face. Even the fake bottle of wine she put out had devil on it. The devil's lie or whatever. I mean, you can't even make a story up like this. And this is a business that earned millions and millions and millions of dollars, like 15 to 30 million, as you saw in the report. Supplying no wine. Zero. Can't even buy it. Ilhan Omar is probably my least favorite politician by far. And it's not because she's Muslim. I can't stand her. It has nothing to do with her religious belief. She's a gaslighter from the start. She definitely was paid by somebody. Nobody can go from, zero money, or at least limited amount of money, to a multi-millionaire that quickly. Just so happens she gets into government, and that's what happens. Now, not just to pick on her, though, because the reporting isn't really that out there, though. It seems like you'd think politicians and the DOJ is actually going to investigate this and probably dish out some justice. I'm hoping, because this can't be going on. This is like mob money, like mafia profit. These are things that people went to jail for. Everyday citizens go to jail for. Fake businesses, fake, winery, making $30 million. This is nuts. And don't think she's the only one doing it. I bet there's a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats that are doing this. Don't you think Republicans would have been just putting this all out there? Somebody would be investigating this. Somebody would be like, this Ilhan Omar, I don't like her. I don't like the way she votes. Politics are brutal, the way they go after each other. Like, how does this not come out until, people have to dig and dig and dig for it? These people in Congress know. These people in the Senate know that people are making money off fake NGOs and fake businesses. They're all doing it. I mean, it almost makes you want to just get term limits. I know it's not how we drew it up, but term limits may have to go down, because people sit in Congress and the Senate and they sit in Washington for 20 years and they come out like billionaires or millionaires. Lavish places they're living in, crazy businesses. No one checks up on like what they actually do. It's not why government was started. It's not why we used to send our representatives of our districts and our cities and our states, horse and buggy, up to DC to represent the people. It's not why we did this. So they have to really look into this, and not just look into her, look into everybody that has crazy amounts of money with nothing to show for it. We'll be back with our next segment. We're going to cover the WBC and the Paralympic hockey teams. Canada loses that. Again, Canada is just having a rough hockey experience this year. We'll be back with that segment. The WC baseball has been just phenomenal to watch. It's overexceeded my expectations. I was a little down on it, wasn't excited about it, especially coming off the Olympics and the men's hockey team winning the gold medal. It kind of seemed like it was second fiddle, but as I continue to watch it, the U.S. men's team is showing a lot of patriotism, and they seem to have another level of excitement being on this roster. And it's definitely has something to do with the Olympic teams winning the gold, the men's and the women's Olympic teams, because, I don't know, it just seems like there's just more of an urgency this year. Even though they lost to Italy, that was not a good loss. But Italy's playing well, and they play tonight to see who gets in the finals. I tape record this show on Mondays, and the championship is Tuesday the 17th. St. Patrick's Day will be the championship. But USA's pitching staff, to give up one run against the Dominican Republic is just outstanding. The Dominican Republic is averaging, I think, 10 runs a game, and they just got shut down. But their pitching staff, the Dominican Republic's pitching staff, threw well because U.S. had 2 runs and 2 big mistakes by the pitching staff of the Dominican Republic, and the U.S. took advantage of it. But overall, it was a great game. 2-1, USA won, moves on to the championship. And Derek Jeter kind of said it best with the postgame. Spring training is a time you kind of work the kinks out, kind of get back to 100% full go. You come into spring training at about 90%. Your swing's about 95%. You're just trying to get some reps down and get back in that kind of that mid-season form going into the start of the season. That's always the goal. Maybe I've played baseball my whole life, so I know what you're feeling like going into the season. You want to get as close to mid-season form when that season kicks off. That's the goal of spring training. And it's tough to do that. And then to jump in high-level situations, high-stress situations, spring training kind of gets you into the regular season mode. You're got 10,000 fans watching you. You're not ready for 39,000, 40,000 people going crazy. Intense October moments in March. So for these pitchers to come out and perform like they are, that's a feat in itself. So awesome job. WBC is better than I expected. And also I want to talk about the men's and women's Paralympic hockey teams. Sled hockey, if you're not familiar. Awesome. They won the gold. Both teams beat Canada. Canada's having a rough time. It's totally not their year for hockey. I'll tell you that. If you would ask me beginning of the year if Canada would have lost the men's, women's, Olympic hockey, and then also the Paralympics hockey, I would have said no. That's a tough bet to say USA would go 4-0, but we did. Kudos to the men's and women's Paralympic hockey teams. I'm going to roll a clip of the U.S. men's team winning the gold.
It's a gold medal for the United States. Their 5th straight Paralympic sled hockey gold. And the dynasty continues on the ice in Milan.
The Wiley Wire segment, where Brandon asks,
"What the fuck is this?"
Report them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
We're back with our WTF segment. And as you saw that Hillary Clinton video. Someone sent that to me. And I agree with everything she's saying, but she's saying it like hardcore, like vicious. You know what I mean? And I remember back in 2015 when she was running against Trump, like I started seeing people getting pissed off about Trump. And I'm like, I remember having a boat on Lake Michigan. I remember some guy like running me off to the side because somebody in my boat had a Trump hat on. And that's when I realized like this was like getting ugly. And this was like 2015. I remember being in my single days at a bar and sitting I was talking to one girl, and for a long period of time, and we were hitting it off and it was going good. And then her friend kind of came up, talked for about a couple minutes, then right away asked who I was voting for. And I'm like, not Hillary. And she threw a drink in my face and they both walked off. She kind of pulled her friend away, the girl I was talking to. This is back in my single days. I've told my wife this story, but that's when I knew like things were just getting weird. And there's probably a lot of propaganda going around, but this is who Trump was running against. And she's like more MAGA than you can possibly imagine. So this is my WTF segment. All the people that voted for Hillary got to be Trump supporters at this point. When I say Trump supporters, they have to be leaning towards Trump on a vote because they were definitely swayed off of Hillary then because that was her view in 2008. And you know, now that the Democratic Party is completely, I think they've lost most common sense because that was a universal kind of belief. You had to be a citizen to be in this country. And somewhere along the lines, things have all changed. And you have a Democratic Party that let, who knows, 10 million criminals in. They say more. There's probably 15 million criminals. I know Trump's deported a lot of them, but there's still a ton of them out there. And that goes against the Hillary Clinton voters of 2015. So that's my WTF. I posed the question, if Hillary ran today on that platform, would you vote for her? That's a wrap of episode 20 of The Wiley Wire. Thanks for watching. Thanks for staying wired. Just an update. We're not going to do a Friday episode. I'll be traveling, working on the podcast, and we'll be back on Tuesday of next week with episode 21. Thanks for watching. Follow us at The Wiley Wire on all platforms. Share us and like us. Thanks for staying wired. We'll see you next week.
The Wiley Wire dives into sports, music, politics, health, and trending topics for entertainment, info, and education. Listener discretion advised. May include mature themes, explicit language, controversial views, or sensitive content. Not suitable for under 18 or all audiences. Parents, please supervise. All opinions from hosts, guests, and contributors are personal and don't reflect our official views. Information isn't guaranteed to be accurate. Do your own research and consult qualified professionals.